You would think that nowadays, with all these new ways to connect, it would be easier to find friends and relationships and ultimately feel like you belong in the world. And for some it is, but for a lot of us, it almost feels like it's doing the complete opposite. And I'm not going to lie, the majority of this video is just kind of depressing, but I do try to offer some advice / wisdom towards the end of the video. So try to stick around until then, and maybe I'll be able to help you out a little bit. But yeah. I'm 20 years old now, and I'm not gonna lie, I feel more lonely than ever before. When I was a kid, I always couldn't wait to grow up and have more freedoms and more friends, fall in love, etc., whatnot, all that garbage. But my God, I had no idea what it would really be like. I graduated high school and decided not to go to college because I hated school my entire life. Never did well, always hated homework, I don't know, it just wasn't really for me. But I never really thought to consider that I'd be missing out on so many experiences by not going to school like everybody else. After high school was over, I really only had my super close circle of friends. And since we're all broke and live with our parents, there's really not a ton of things we can do around here, especially since I live in the Midwest and it's like the most boring place around here ever. There's like 1 or 2 places we can drive an hour and a half to that are mildly interesting. This is kind of like a random thing, sort of, but I came across a video on YouTube by this guy called Gerber Johnson, and a lot of you probably, if you're seeing this video, you've probably seen one of his videos too. And I'll leave a link to this video in the description or whatever you do on YouTube. He briefly spoke about how, like, damn, dude, like, schools have literally found a way to monetize having a social life. Like, the 2 choices are you either pay tens of thousands of dollars to go have fun and party and have a social life and, whatever. Or you stay at home with mom and dad and effectively feel like a loser as you're watching all your past peers or past friends and, everything. They're all having the time of their life at like ASU or some shit. Which brings me to my next point, which is social media. I highly recommend that you delete that shit for a while and just see how it feels. Being on there can be horrible for your mental health. And you're probably telling yourself right now, like, thanks, Sherlock, I had no idea. But yet, you probably have never even tried to, like, change that. You probably never tried it. Maybe you haven't, it hasn't worked, but I'm willing to bet a lot of you haven't tried to take a break. You wake up in the morning and you scroll on TikTok for like 30 minutes to an hour, just munching on dopamine nonstop, and then you say, like, damn, I've been on TikTok for a while, I should get up. And then you literally just switch over to Instagram, where you see all your old friends or old peers having fun doing, whatever, XYZ. And then you just immediately start to compare yourself, since you just sat on TikTok for the first hour of your day, instead of having fun doing XYZ like they're doing. In my opinion, the worst part of social media is what it can do to you in like real life social situations. For some, socializing is easier than others. I'm definitely one of the others who struggles. I used to just pull my phone out every time I felt like someone was going to talk to me, or if I was standing next to someone I didn't know, I would just put my phone to my face to just try to look as unapproachable as possible so they wouldn't try to speak to me. I don't know why. I was just scared. In other words, it's called social anxiety, which is something I think a huge number of people deal with nowadays, and I honestly think it's because of social media and ultimately the escapism it offers. Why would I, go through the trouble of, like, trying to make a conversation with somebody when I could just pull my phone out and, get some dopamine that way. And it kind of sucks that things have changed that way. I mean, sometimes I feel like I was just born in the wrong year. I mean, I don't know. If social media wasn't around, maybe I wouldn't be so lonely. And I've got a lot better with it over the years, but I've also realized that I kind of shot myself in the foot. Because maybe if I'd been more of an approachable person back then maybe I wouldn't be so lonely now. Maybe I'd have more, friends and stuff like that. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm honestly not sure. But I do know that I in my opinion, social media is going to be your worst enemy when it comes to loneliness if you abuse it too much. You can make new friends and relationships with social media, but I don't know. I just don't think the odds are great. I think the best kind of like relationships you can find are just going to be people you find in real life. It's because it's just all like genuine and natural if it's in real life. And I'm not even talking about like, romantically. I'm talking about platonically as well. It's the better stuff, the better like juice, if you will, comes from, like meeting people in real life by chance, and it just kind of happens naturally. Social media, you're just kind of like forcing it to happen. So, and to be honest, it's kind of sad to see the things I see nowadays. It's like parents are just handing their kids iPads at restaurants and grocery stores instead of like talking with them. I mean, the kids just, watching Coco Melon at the restaurant. I can't imagine, the kind of social anxiety those kids are gonna have to deal with once they grow up. But I don't know. Anyway. I bring up social anxiety because it's like, oh, you feel lonely, you don't have friends, just make some new ones, idiot. Like, yeah, thanks. That's way easier said than done for a lot of us. It just kind of sucks how lonely a lot of us feel in a world so crowded and connected. Like, how is that even possible? How does that even work? It's supposed to be super easy to meet new people and connect. I mean, you could literally meet someone from across the entire country and become their best friend, but like, it just feels like that just doesn't happen ever. I don't know. Well, Charlie, that was a really depressing video. Thanks. You're just gonna leave me here feeling like shit? Yeah. No. Although I'm still only 20 years old and I'm still figuring out a lot of shit myself, I do have some advice / wisdom from things that I've learned from other people's advice and some of my own experiences. One of the things is, I know I already briefly talked about it, but definitely try deleting social media for a little while, even if it's just for like a week. Just try and see how you feel. I know it helped me out because I just felt disconnected, and like I just kind of felt like I didn't have to worry about like if my post did well, or I didn't have to like look at someone having fun at a club or having fun at like school or whatever, or having fun traveling while I would just feel stuck at home, like I don't know, kind of basically just kind of feel like a loser. If I didn't have to see any of that shit, I didn't compare myself, it definitely helped me out. Definitely cleared my head for a little while. Another thing is, if you're like me and you find yourself lonely yet afraid to speak to people a lot of the times, you can try small things to get started. Like go for a walk around your neighborhood and just smile and say hi to people you pass by. It seems kind of small and stupid, but I actually tried it and it actually kind of made me feel pretty good. And ironically, well, maybe not ironically, but it made me feel a little bit less lonely. Like, damn, like it's just not that. It's not that scary. It's not that weird. It's pretty normal for the most part. And if people like didn't, say hi back or didn't even smile back at me, it was just like kind of like, oh, whatever, like they probably just feel the way I felt before, or I was just scared. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It definitely weirdly enough made me feel pretty, kind of like changed my whole mood. So maybe give that a try. And if you want to take it a step further, just try to talk to more people in general. Like spark up a conversation with the barista at the cafe or the homeless guy downtown, or, I mean, do that one at your own risk. But you get the point. You never know. I mean, you could meet someone that changes your life. It sounds daunting, but the reality is it's really not going to get better if you don't force yourself to at least try. You might meet someone that's like way more extroverted than you, and they just pull you out of your comfort zone. You don't even choose to, and then like there you go. You just made a new friend, kind of thing. It's kind of just like a numbers game. Like the more you try it, eventually you're gonna find somebody that just kind of works for you. And again, this is like I'm talking platonically. I'm not even talking like romantic relationship wise, because that's a whole other video in it of itself. And my last piece of advice is probably my best piece of advice here, but the reason you hate being alone so much is because you probably hate being alone with yourself. And there's a good chance that that's because you probably talk down to yourself in your head a lot. And I know I do that all the time. In my own head, I am so hard on myself for some reason. I don't know why. You kind of have to realize that like if you can't be your own friend, then of course you're gonna hate being alone. Like why would you hang out with somebody who just talks shit to you all the time? Try to imagine like your ideal friend, like what that person would act like, and that's who you kind of have to be for yourself. That person's not going to be talking shit to you all the time. That person's not going to be hard on you. They're just going to be like, I don't know, maybe gently encouraging. You kind of just have to find a way to enjoy your alone time. You have to kind of find a way to, enjoy being alone, and that won't necessarily solve loneliness, but while you are alone, until you do find people, it'll make it a lot less miserable, and it might make it a little more inspiring to actually meet more people as well. Anyway, I hope this helped a little bit. I know I'm still dealing with this shit and still figuring this shit out, so I'm no expert on any of this, but I do hope you find your way through it all, because yeah, like I said, I'm still trying to figure my shit out too. So